and salutations, my dearest friends. My name is Samantha, and today I'm going to be doing romance book recommendations where the hero is a virgin. That's what we're talking about today. How are you? Welcome back to my channel, and welcome back to Trope Week. If you didn't know, I do a series on my channel where every day for a week I will pick a specific book trope and give you a bunch of romance recommendations on it. Today we're going to be talking about the virgin heroes, which, I gotta be honest, is one of my favorite tropes. It is one of my weaknesses, truly. I was just talking about this actually to one of my bookish friends, that I was like, I don't know why, like, I love like a shy virgin hero, because usually, not always, heroine that is a virgin or the heroine that is less experienced and shy, and it's something so sweet to me when it is the hero that is that way. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. I know this is like a very specific book trope, but I promise you I have some really good recs and I cannot wait to talk about them. I feel like my intros get so long, so let's just jump right into it. First book that I want to talk about is a book I will not shut up about. I've talked about so much on my channel, and that is Spitfire by Christy Caldwell. This is the last book in the Wicked Wallflower series. I will say that every other book in the series has to be read in order, but this is like the one book in the series that can be read as a standalone. I read this book first and I completely understood what was going on. Christy Caldwell writes a lot of unique historical romances that are available on Kindle Unlimited with the audiobook, so I highly recommend her books in general. This book follows Henry and Clara. Clara meets our hero in the streets of London after he is actually jumped, and she saves him because he is badly beaten, so she takes him back to her house and kind of nurses him back to health, and then they part ways. Well, it turns out that our hero is a duke and he is a part of Parliament. Clara is not a huge fan of nobility because she is a lady of the night, a prostitute, if you will, and she just has not had the greatest luck with nobility. And Henry ends up crossing paths again because Henry accidentally sends her a cease and desist letter from Parliament to close down her opera house that she is trying to open, and she is real pissed off about it. So she goes to confront him and it follows their romance. Our heroine is, like the title suggests, a Spitfire. She's bold, she is sexy, she is not afraid to speak her mind, she's an independent woman, even in the Regency time. She is amazing, and our hero is also amazing in his own way, but he is a complete cinnamon roll. He's very soft-spoken, and he is a virgin duke. It doesn't get much better than that. He's a virgin saving himself for marriage, and I swear to you, when I read this book, I just fell in love with him so much. Highly recommend this book. The book I want to recommend is another historical romance, and that is A Duke in Disguise by Cat Sebastian, another book I've talked a lot about on my channel. This is the second book in the Regency Imposter historic romance series, but you can read it out of order. It follows Verity and Ash. This is kind of like a brother's best friend trope. They have known each other for a really long time because Ash is best friends with Verity's brother. Verity owns a publishing company where she sells books and prints books, but the business isn't really doing that well, so she needs something to generate a lot of money, so she decides to create kind of like the very first erotica book in Regency time, and she ends up commissioning Ash to help her because he is an artist and he is going to illustrate some of, you know, the spicy scenes in the book, and they end up working really closely together, and it follows their romance. I really liked this one. Heroine was another like bold and bright heroine who was unafraid to speak her mind. She was openly bisexual. She's really passionate about her job. Just absolutely adored her. And then our hero is kind of another cinnamon roll. He is a virgin. The twist of this book, well, it's not really a twist, it's not a spoiler because like in the first chapter, the twist in this is that Ash actually has some ties to nobility that he didn't know that he had. The book is great. It's so well written. I think Cat Sebastian does an amazing job when it comes to historic romances, and this is another great virgin hero. Okay, so next up is another historical romance, and that is The Highwayman by Byrne. This is the first book in her series. I love Byrne books, but if I had to recommend like one book to start off with, it would probably be this Victorian Rebel series because it is so good. It follows our heroine Farah, who is hiding from something from her past. It does have a little bit of a trigger warning. Byrne does write some darker historical romances, and this does have a trigger warning for sexual assault. Farah was treated really badly when she was growing up but when she was young, she had like this best childhood friend that she absolutely loved, absolutely convinced that they were soulmates and that they were going to marry each other, and they loved each other so much, but they ended up getting separated. So this book picks up like years later where Farah is working at Scotland Yard, and as she is working, she ends up meeting like one of the most notorious highwaymen, Dorian Blackwell, which is our hero. Someone has kind of put a hit on Farah because of her secrets from her past, so this does feature a little bit of a marriage of convenience with Dorian, and of course he is connected to her past as well. And I feel like this book was just so well written and so amazing. I don't want to do like too many spoilers and stuff like that, but our hero basically spent some time in prison because of what happened in the past, and he is a virgin, and he is just like so determined that Farah is the one for him. And I just think their love is so freaking sweet in this book. One of my favorite historical romances by far. The next two were actually recommendations from my friend Avery here on BookTube. I will leave her channel down below. She gives the best recommendations. I did a reading vlog where I read some of her favorite books. I think this video is actually coming before that video because I haven't edited that video yet, but I need to talk about these books in like every video so everyone reads them. So the next two were recommendations from Avery. The first is The King's Spinster Bride by Ruby Dixon. So this is a novella on Kindle Unlimited, and the audiobook is fantastic. It follows our heroine Hala, who is a princess. She ends up meeting our hero Matheor when he is a young boy. There is an age gap in this book. It's about 6 years. Meeting our hero Matheor because he is from a rival kingdom, and her father actually like kidnapped him to like start a war, and she actually ends up saving him, but that same day her kingdom ends up getting seized by his father. So she has to go into hiding and become this spinster bride because her kingdom has been taken over. Matheor ends up becoming king, and he has never forgotten our heroine's kindness and always remembered how she saved him. So when he becomes king, he decides that he's going to make her his bride, and this one, the mutual pining in this book is so good. Our hero like worships our heroine, and it is adorable. He knows that she is the one for him from like the second he met her, and he actually saves himself for marriage for her. Both of our characters in this book are virgins, and it is so freaking sweet. So the next one is another novella on Kindle Unlimited, and that is Nerdgasm by Kimberly Reese. This book follows our characters Addison and Theo. Theo is our hero, and he has a stutter. His entire life he had been bullied because of it. He's a little bit more shy and reserved. He is a teacher's assistant in college, and that is where he meets our heroine Addison because she is taking that class. The second that Addison sees Theo, she thinks he's so handsome and is absolutely like awestruck by him, and she's very like bold and independent, and he immediately like goes up to him and tells him like she wants him to take her out on a date. And I just loved how different their personalities were, but they meshed together so freaking well. Theo is a virgin in this book because he does have a little bit more of a shy personality, and I loved like how sweet and patient this romance was. The book was a perfect balance of being sweet and steamy because Addison, she is more experienced in the relationship, but she is so sweet and patient with Theo. And I think like this book does such a good job at like describing like true soulmates. Like, you know, even though these characters are like college students, you just know they're destined to be together, and it was such a beautiful love story to read about. Highly recommend. Okay, another novella. I didn't realize I had so many novella recommendations, but I do love a good novella. Another novella is Hefty by Jessica Kane. If I had to pick one Jessica Kane book, just one to recommend you, this is it. It is my favorite. This book follows Zach and Jill, and this is another brother's best friend romance. So our hero Zach is a football player, and our heroine Jill is a cheerleader. They have both had crushes on each other for as long as they can remember, but they never really wanted to ruin their friendship. They're both young and really attracted to each other, so they actually decide to like explore that relationship with one another, and it is just so freaking cute. Both of our characters are virgins in this book, and I think this is like top-notch Jessica Kane. It's like part of her series where she wrote like a couple of novellas where it had like thick plus-size heroes, and they were just my favorite, my absolute favorite. The next one that I want to recommend is Pestilence by Thalassa. This is the first book in her apocalypse romance series. Basically, this is set in like an apocalypse type world where the world is literally ending, and the four horsemen, pestilence, death, famine, war, they're all coming for everybody. It's the end of the world. It's the end of the world. So the first one to come is Pestilence, and he is coming to really destroy the world and finish his purpose, but he ends up meeting our heroine who is determined to save the world and like stop him from doing this. So they end up forming a romance. Really interesting dynamic because they both have completely different agendas, but at the end of the day they absolutely fall so hard for each other. Our hero in this book is a horseman and he is a virgin, and I really love this book. I'm not someone who likes to read apocalypse books or pandemic books because like we're literally in a pandemic and I just don't love reading about it, but this one was so well written. I highly recommend. Okay, the next one is another novella. You know, okay, we're just recommending a lot of novellas. Stay with me here. And that is Mating the Huntress by Talia Hibbert. This is a paranormal romance, so it follows a werewolf and a werewolf hunter. Our heroine is a werewolf hunter, but her family really doesn't let her hunt because one day a witch like prophesied that the first werewolf that she was going to kill would break her heart. So she's really determined to prove herself to her family that she can be a werewolf hunter, and lo and behold, a werewolf walks right into her restaurant and it follows their romance. Werewolf is instantly attracted to our heroine. He knows that she is his fated mate, but she is a little bit hesitant. I just loved how our hero was so determined and so sweet. He is a virgin hero and he's just like the cutest. Our heroine literally tries to kill him. Literally tries to kill him, and he's like, well, I still love you. You're still my mate. We're gonna be together. Just waiting for you to figure that out. I love this book. Okay, so those are all my recommendations for romance books that have a virgin hero trope. I truly love all of these books. In these videos, I like to give recommendations, but I also like to talk about some books that are on my personal TBR, just like some extra books to throw in there. So the next few books that I'm about to talk about, I haven't read. They're just on my TBR, but if you've read them, let me know what you think. So the first one is Born in Sin by Kinley McGregor. This is the second book in the McAllister series. This is a historical romance. I know it has a virgin hero. I've never read it, but I'm so like intrigued. Anytime I like search virgin hero romances or someone gives me a recommendation, they always talk about this book. Always talk about it. So I need to read it. And then, okay, this next series is really popular. It's really popular. It's Outlander. I've never read Outlander. Can you believe it? I know. I've never read it, never seen the TV show. I know nothing about it, but I do know the hero in this book is a virgin. I do know that. And I know this book is like so well loved, which makes me like nervous to start it because I know like everyone and their mama has already read this book. Is it too late for me to like jump on this and read this series? I don't know. Let me know what you think of the series. Okay, so Casey Mint. She writes novellas. She's been recommended to me time and time again by Rachel from Rachel Reads and Sings, and I've read some Casey Mint books that I've loved, and there's one called The Gift, and I know for sure that has a virgin hero, so I'm very intrigued. I want to read it. This is also on my list. Okay, those are just 3 quick books that are on my TBR with this trope. If you have any recommendations, leave them down below. I got like a cough in my throat for a second. Leave them down below. Give me the recommendations. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to spend time with me. It means the world to me. I hope you guys are all staying happy and healthy, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Bye!